All right, guys. Today, so I've worked with a lot of new agents recently, and I realized that there's really two struggle points that we run into in the field. The approach, obviously, because they're nervous out of their minds, just walking into new businesses, and the transition to the close. So today, I'm going to go through the transition to the close, all the way from the price to the health questions. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my. You know what? I'm not going to share my screen because a lot of it I don't show my. No, I'll share my screen. Hang on. All right, let's see. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. So on the price page, say, and Maria, I'll use you as an example. So say, now I'm like, okay, well, what if I told you for you to have the elite cancer and ICU policy for yourself, it was only $384. I'm just gonna be like, oh, like that's not too bad. It's like, just kidding. And then that's when you show them the real price. It's only $102.70. And then I always say this page is like lava. As soon as you show that price, you are off of that page. This is the last page you want to stay on. You show them the price and immediately you go to return a premium. So Maria, I remember I had mentioned if you never use this product, you get all your money back. So this is everyone's favorite part. There's 4 ways that can play out and only 4 ways. And then I always zoom in so that they're not focusing on anything else. And I say, first way, say you pay in 20 grand and you beat the odds. No one in your family or yourself, you never get cancer, you're never in the ICU, we don't pay you out any claims. Well, you're going to get a check back for exactly what you've paid in, 100% tax-free, and then your coverage continues at the same exact rate you started at today. Second way, say you pay in 20 grand and you file some wellness claims. You wanted to make sure that if you had cancer coming to you, you caught it early, and you did just that. We paid you 5 grand in wellness claims over the years. Well, Maria, you're going to get a check back for whatever you never had to use, 100% tax-free, and then your coverage continues at the same exact rate you started at today. Nothing changes. Third way, and this is where it really starts to make sense for most folks. Say you pay in 20 grand and things hit the fan. You can't predict the future, but you can very well be prepared for it, and you were. We paid you a larger claim of, say, 65 grand, or who knows, 265 grand. Well, yeah, you're not getting any of your money back because we paid you more than you ever paid us, but this plan did exactly what it was there to do, and it saved you 45 or who knows, way more money than that. And it kept your whole entire life together during the hardest time of your life. You still had a roof over your head. You're still able to keep food on the table. This is the reason why you still had a home to come back to when you got back from treatment. And fourth and final way is if all covered adults, so Maria, if you were to pass away for any reason before that 25-year mark, every single penny that you've paid into it so far just goes straight to your beneficiary. So at that point, I'm gonna bring you guys back up. At that point, I put my iPad down and I pull my names list up, and whether it's on your iPad or I use old school, I like my handwritten names list. I'll pull out my names list and I'll just, point to some of the major power players in my area. I'll say, you know what? Investigator Jordan, he's with Springdale PD. He loved that it pays him directly. His dad went through a 5-year battle with prostate and colon cancer, which he recently lost. But he was just like, you know what, if my dad had had this, the amount of money that, this would have given us and the amount of things we would have been able to pay for, he was like, it just makes too much sense not to have. And then Chief Valentino, he's over at the Irmo Fire Department. Guys, he literally told me it's dumb not to have this plan. Chief was like, honestly, I've got 4 young kids. They're running around. They're wild and crazy. I like to eat cheeseburgers a lot. He's like, chances are something's going to happen. He was like, honestly, it's cheaper than my cable bill. He's like, I can't justify not having something like this. And then I'll always pull up one of the most recent ones. So then I'll say, you know what? And then Amanda Coleman last week over at Duncan, she just said she loved the protection that it provided for her and her kids. She was like, honestly, I'm young. I should be putting money aside. This is like a forced savings account for me. She's like, it just makes too much sense not to have. You're going to pay me when something bad happens. You're going to pay me when nothing does happen. So Maria, and this is where you have to do the feel, felt, found. This is your main transition. So, or it's called what, why, and how. So Maria, what about a plan like this makes the most sense for you and your family to have?
I really like that, just having that peace of mind and knowing that I wouldn't have to blow through my whole savings account if something happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And God forbid you did go through this like your grandfather did. why would it be important for you to have an unlimited amount of financial resources coming your way if you were to go through this?
Well, that would be important just because I only have saved up what I have, and I wouldn't want to lose my house.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why everybody gets it. And how are you going to feel in 25 years when I show up at your doorstep with a check with all your money back because you never had to use it?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Right. So all I have to do, and this is where I pull back up the health questions, guys, I immediately, as soon as she says that, Maria, I just have to ask you those few simple health questions to make sure you qualify. I'm not asking her, hey, can I ask you these? Hey, is it all right? Hey, do you want this? I'm just saying, this is where I have to ask you those health questions to make sure you qualify. Immediately, I'm pulling up those health questions. Hey, have you ever been diagnosed or treated for any type of cancer? I'm asking those 5 health questions. And then immediately, what's your mailing address? All right, guys, it is a very assumptive close. I think that's where, a lot of newer agents have a hard time with it. We're not literally asking them yes or no at the end because Maria just gave me 3 huge reasons on why she needs it. She just painted that picture for me. She just sold herself. She just told me all these reasons why it makes sense for her and her family to have. So that is her yes. You need to understand that that is her way of saying, hey, I need this, sign me up. And then you are going right into the application. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that or any takeaways?
Kaitlyn, I do have one question. Does it ever happen to you where you do your transition and they say, I'd feel good if that happened, blah, 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 and then still get an objection somewhere in the application?
Oh, literally every day, all the time. Like we always say, humans are going to be humans. They always have that objection. They feel like deep down they have to give an objection, otherwise they're not doing their job right. So that's where our rebuttals come into play. So if they're saying, hey, let me think about it, or am I signing up right now? That's where you have to have those rebuttals in your back pocket so that you can just take them out and be like, you know what, let me ask you this. Do you have a crystal globe? Like, can you see the future? What if I was to tell you that, your youngest was going to come down with leukemia 2 months from now? You'd rather have this, right? And they're like, yeah, of course. Exactly. And that's why we're getting you protected today, at a level that you can afford. And down the line, if you ever want to move up or down in coverage, that's fine. All you got to do is call me. We're just making sure that we get you signed up for something that you can handle. That way we get that 30-day wait out of the way. And God forbid if something happens to any of you, you have that protection. That's why we're here. We're not here to be a burden on your finances. We're here to do the exact opposite. We're here to help you during the hardest time of your life. And that's what I'm here to do.
Perfect. There you go.
Anybody else have a question?
I do. This is Renee.
Okay.
Can you go over the questions really quick? I just got behind writing, like your what, why, how, like what you asked.
Oh, yeah. So I always just say, what makes the most sense about a plan like this for you to have? Or what do you like the best? Depending on the person, you'll tailor that question a little differently. And then depending on their answer, you're either going to say, why is that important? That answer they just gave back, or why would it make sense for you to have a ton of financial help coming your way? And then the last one I always end with, just to drive home the fact that we're bringing them their money back if they don't use it, is how would you feel in 25 years when I show up at your doorstep with a check with all your money back because you never had to use this plan?
Thank you. I love those questions.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right, guys, if that is it, then we are good to go. I hope this helps a lot. I know that, when I first started, the transition to close was definitely something that I struggled with the most. But that's one of the areas where you sharpen your skill set there, and you're going to see an astronomical jump in the amount of people that you close. It really is a psychologically based sale. So we just want to make sure that we're formatting and wording the ending of the demo correctly. That way, it's smooth. We're not stopping and saying, do you want this? Are we still good to go? It's a very smooth transition to the point where, by the time they're done, it's like, oh, I just got covered. I didn't even realize, but if nobody has anything else, then we are good to go and hit the field, guys.
Happy Tuesday, y'all.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much, Kaitlyn. Bye now.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Great job.
Kaitlyn. I don't know if you're still on, but I stay entirely too long on the price page.
Yes,
Like,
remember that it's
way
lava.
too long.
Get off of it, because you're gonna find out what price fits for them after you get all their contact information. After you've painted that picture, you understand why they need it. They've told you, how they feel about this. You're gonna pick a plan that works for them later on when you get to the monthly, annual, semi-annual page where you can choose how they pay. That's where you'll choose the actual price. And I was on another agency's call yesterday, and this girl spoke, and she said, it was so informational. She said, you know what, guys, I just have to drive home the fact of, you may think a plan is very expensive, but do not undersell yourself. You have no idea what's important for families and what you think they may need. This girl closed a policy for close to $800 a month for this family.
Oh my gosh.
$800, guys. She showed them the price. She was like, I was almost sick. She was like, I was afraid to show them the price, but I showed it to them. And after a lot of rebuttaling, she sold them. And it was just over $8,000 in premium for one family, because that was what they needed. We can't tell other people what they can and can't afford. So just understand that price page may be scary to us, because we're like, oh my gosh, it's $100 a month. But you know what? They may have a good amount in savings, or they may have a family member that they didn't even tell us about that has gone through this. And this may be, exactly what they need. So just make sure that you don't stay on that page, and you also don't undersell yourself. They will tell you exactly what plan they want. Just don't undershoot. Okay, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. Like, I literally, now that, and it never dawned on me, but I give them time to like sit there and think about the money, and what I just give them entirely too long to focus and think and remember what those prices are. Totally makes sense.
Yeah. So just make sure
thank
on that
you.
coverage page, hey, it's going to cost you X amount each month, but I didn't even show you the best part. And then immediately you're going to the return of premium page.
The great thing is, though, is that, we never know what they have in their pockets. Only they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're very
Absolutely
happy
right.
to tell you if something were to hit the fan. Oh God, that would actually really work. Oh yeah. So sorry, you mean to chime in. I just thought it was interesting.
No, that was awesome. Anybody else have anything to add?
That was awesome, Kaitlyn. That was really good. So much.
Yep.
I like
All
the
right,
format.
guys.
Great.
You're my
All
rock
right,
star.
have a wonderful Tuesday, guys.